financial problems, elder law, tax problems, business matters, divorce, personal injury, bankruptcy, your life, your reality. Life is complicated. There is the law and there is reality. Welcome to Law and Reality, sponsored by Thav Gross. Now here's your host, Ken Gross.
Welcome to this segment of Law and Reality. This week we're going to cover eliminating debt outside of bankruptcy using debt resolution. That's okay, because the last couple weeks we've gone through Chapter 7, we've gone through Chapter 13, which are the bankruptcy solutions. Now we're going to talk about the solution outside of bankruptcy. Before we get into that, I want to say good morning to everyone. Jenny Glingo, good morning.
Good morning, Ken.
Good to have you here. Brian Small.
A pleasure.
David Einstanding.
Excited.
The crew from Thav Gross, and we're ready to rock and roll.
You're exuding excitement at the moment, David. I feel it in the room.
A great article last month. In the Atlantic, and the Atlantic.com. It was in their May issue. The Secret Shame of Middle Class Americans, written by an author named Neil Gabler, who is a successful author. This is a guy who's published 5-6 books. He writes screenplays, TV scripts, someone that you would consider successful from the standpoint of a professional. The essence of the article is he points out that since 2013, the Fed has been publishing a report on the financial and economic status of American consumers. Most of the findings are typical, but one of them was alarming, and it was 47% of the respondents said that if they had a financial need to spend $400 on an emergency, they would have to borrow the money. They didn't have the cash.
That's a mind-numbing statistic. Not $4,000. It's not a transmission in the car. It's not a new furnace. We're talking about a $400 issue.
That's it, $400. And here's what Neil Gabler had to say, and this is the unique part of the article. Who knew? Well, I knew. I knew because I'm part of the 47%. This is what Neil Gabler had to say. And he goes on to say he's got this good career. He's nowhere near rich, but he's typically made a solid middle-class income, even an upper-class income, which is about all a writer can expect. But here's what he had to say. I know what it is like to have to juggle creditors to make it through a week. I know what it is like to swallow my pride and constantly dun people to pay me so I can pay others. I know what it's like to have liens slapped on me and to have my bank account levied by creditors. I know what it's like to be down to my last $5 literally while I wait for a paycheck to arrive, and I know what it's like to subsist for days on a diet of eggs. I know what it's like to dread going to, this is the big one I love, to dread going to the mailbox because there will always be new bills to pay, but seldom a check with which to pay them. I know what it's like to tell my daughter that I don't know if I'll be able to help with her wedding. It all depends on whether something good happens. And I know what it's like to have to borrow money from my adult daughters because my wife and I have run out of heating oil. What this is saying, and this article is emphasizing, which is something that I have felt all along, particularly since 2008 and the financial crisis, is financial insecurity is pervasive in the United States. People will never talk about it. He points out, this was a long article and I pared it down for our purposes, and it's a great article if you want to Google it, and we'll put it up on the board to find it. It's well written and it's kind of almost fun to read. But people don't talk about their credit card debt. They don't talk about their finances with their friends. Everyone pretends like everything's fine. But you have so many people
like to share their quote-unquote dirty laundry. If I don't talk about it, it isn't happening. If I don't talk about it, it's going to go away. I'm just going to hide my head in the sand and I'll let the world pass me by.
And it's a two-edged sword. It's hiding your head is one thing, and not talking about it is the embarrassment factor. In his article, I'll give you one last quote, and I won't read anything more from it. It says, "My friend and local butcher Brian, who is one of the only
me.
men, not Brian Small, is one of the only, although sometimes I think you're a butcher, is the only man I know who talks openly about his financial struggles, once told me, if anyone says he's sailing through, he's lying. That might not be entirely true, but then again, it might not be too far off. He's saying everybody pretends that things are, how are things? Great, everything's wonderful. And then you go home and you go to the mailbox and you're afraid to look at your mail because you're going to get 25 bills that you can't pay for.
Reality check. Most people are one paycheck away from bankruptcy. Period. It's the same $400 problem. If that paycheck doesn't come in, they can't pay their bills, and they are going to be in here filing bankruptcy. Period.
No, let me moderate. Let me challenge you on that a little bit.
You can challenge me all you want. I'm telling you, if you
I can't challenge you if I can't.
If you surveyed 100 people, you would find out that they don't have enough money to get through a month, and if they miss a paycheck, they're dead.
If they lose their job. If they lose,
they miss a paycheck.
All right. Well, let me give you.
Pay the mortgage.
I'm going to give you the other view, but I only have a minute and a half to do it. And if you don't give me a chance, then I won't be able to do it. But here's the other view. The other view is Neil Gabler and these kind of people. It doesn't mean they can't raise the $400. What they do is they put it on their credit card. They put it on their credit card and they pay the expense. That's what was going on all through 2008. As long as they have the available credit, they're able to continue to function and make their payments. The problem is, where are they going? They end up in the credit card trap where they're paying all of their disposable income at 29% interest. They're not saving any money, and one day when the banks take away the available credit, then they have to absolutely come see Brian to file a bankruptcy because they don't have any savings and they don't have any available credit and they can't pay for anything. And the mistake is letting that situation persist and continue until you're at the breaking point. If you jump on it ahead of time, you get rid of the debt and you start taking that money that you're giving to the bank every month, that $1,500, $2,000, and you start putting it in your IRA in the bank for savings so you've got something to retire. So I agree with you, Brian, but I don't agree with you on the $400. I agree with you, it happens when people have no more borrowing ability, but then they've already wasted a lot of time. We'll be back after the break.
It's devastating, the effects of debt and foreclosure on you and your family. There is a solution.
Worth Ave Gross, our firm will solve your problem. Some fear the word bankruptcy, but in reality, it's a strategy to save your home and to eliminate debt. If you're in financial trouble, timing is critical. You need to take action now. We've been saving homes and eliminating debt for over 33 years.
Call Fav Gross 888-235-HELP. Tax problems are major problems. Don't let the IRS levy your wages and seize your assets. There is a solution.
Worth Ave Gross, our firm will solve your problem.
If you're behind on your taxes and owe money to the IRS, call Fav Gross.
We've been solving tax problems for 32 years. We stop wage levies, resolve unfiled returns, and obtain the best possible settlements.
Call Fav Gross today, 888-235-HELP.
A lifetime of hard work. If you don't have the right plan in place, you can lose your home, your savings, and more. And you didn't come this far to lose everything. Samasco Law wants you to know that laws are changing. Today, the average cost of nursing home care is $85,000 a year. With proper planning, we can help protect your life savings and get you the Medicaid and nursing home benefits you deserve.
How much can you afford to lose? Call Samasco Law today.
If you're retired and in a financial crisis, there is a way out.
It pains me when I see a retired couple exhaust their savings by paying credit card bills and for a home hopelessly underwater.
Fav Gross specializes in helping retired people in financial crisis.
You just can't keep paying until you're broke. You need to address the problem now.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
Worth Ave Gross, our firm will solve your problem.
Is the debt piling up? Struggling to get by?
It's all about preserving future income. Bankruptcy is one option. When it's right, it's the least costly, most effective way to save your home, eliminate a second mortgage, and wipe out credit card debt. But you need to address the problem now.
We help people with bankruptcy. Call the experts.
Worth Ave Gross. Our firm will solve your problem.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
Welcome back. All right, so let me finish up the Neil Gabler analysis with a great quote. I know Ryan likes it a lot. Many of us, it turns out, are living in a more or less continual state of financial peril. So if you really want to know why there is such deep economic discontent in America today, even when many indicators say the country is heading in the right direction, ask a member of that 47%. Ask me. I think that says a lot about the discontent in America. You can see it in the insane political drama playing out with regard to the election and how unhappy people are, even though economic indicators would say we're pretty good. Low unemployment. Right now, it's definitely an employee's job market in terms of trying to find a job, but there's a tremendous discontent, and it comes down to that 47%.
Do you think, as far as, I want to ask a question that you raised a good point, and I know that you've talked about it a lot, Brian. The prevailing wage that's paid now is not the same for the similar job that existed before. And has that increased a little bit?
I don't really see it. I mean, when we look at the studies, they talk about wages going up an average of 3 cents or whatever. It's crazy. You've got a severe underemployment problem in the United States. Or I guess you really don't anymore, because the underemployment is the new norm. We've actually come to accept that getting paid less for a job that we were doing, the same job we were doing 10 years ago, is acceptable now.
Or when your insurance costs go up 60, 50, 20%, that disposable income means it's less.
You know, since the advent of the Affordable Care Act, otherwise known as Obamacare, I have seen more people that come in when they've got $7,500 deductibles.
Oh yeah, you get covered.
And they're getting killed. The insurance is cheap, but the deductible's killing them. Right. And so at the end of the day, all it was
medical care.
It was a shifting of the the medical expense from the insurer to the insured. It didn't really save anybody any money at this
I think
point.
you hit the nail on the head. The Affordable Care is very affordable if you don't need any medical care, because then you don't have to pay the deductible, and then you're saving a whole bunch of money because your premiums are way less.
I don't know
but let's talk about debt resolution.
Okay, we can talk about debt resolution.
Debt resolution is how we solve financial credit card debt outside of bankruptcy.
And there's a lot of credit card debt coming. I mean, don't forget what just happened last month.
What happened?
We had an increase in the non-real estate debt in the United States by $29.67 billion.
That's the month of April or month of May?
That was the month of March, actually.
Right.
Excuse
me. But it was reported in April. That is amazing. Think about that number. What was it? It was twice what the economists expected in terms of the growth. And go back to when we were in the recession. We saw consumer debt go down. Right now, it's not just auto loans and student debt either. It's credit card debt is starting to grow at an enormous rate.
Revolving credit outstanding, mostly credit cards, increased at a 14.16 annual pace in March, the fastest pace since July of 2000. Revolving credit rose at a revised rate of 3.72% in February. Look at that, 3.72% in February, 14.16% in March.
Yeah. It's coming to a head. And that goes back to our discussion earlier about available credit.
The world's going to blow up.
So let's talk about how we settle credit card debt outside of bankruptcy, because we've covered the bankruptcy thing. Debt resolution is an 18 to 24 month plan. And here's the theory. We use the money that you would be paying in your minimum monthly payments, that you would be paying for the rest of your life if you don't do something to get rid of the credit card debt, and we take that fund of money. And if we think that we can settle all the credit card debt, cover your legal costs, and get it accomplished within a 24-month period, we think that becomes an optimal solution to resolving the debt, because we've already analyzed it and said you don't qualify for a Chapter 7, and a Chapter 13 would cost you more money because it would be a 36 or a 60-month plan. So if you fit within those parameters, then it makes sense. Now, how it works is a lot different than you get on the impression when you hear the TV and the radio commercials about debt settlement.
Well, talking about debt settlement, let's just make sure we distinguish the difference. Most debt settlement companies that you see on TV are promoting a 4-year program, okay? And it sounds really good.
Yeah, just one steady monthly payment and you're done in 4 years.
Except for one problem.
Hogwash.
It doesn't work. Yeah.
Beyond it doesn't work. It's not even what they represent it to be. You're making this one monthly payment. That doesn't mean the creditors have agreed to it. It isn't a reorganization like in the bankruptcy process. They're just telling you, give us this one monthly payment. They're charging you $90 a month to put your money in a trust account, and then they settle the debt, and when they run out of money, you end up getting sued. It doesn't resolve anything. Then they come to Brian to file a bankruptcy.
And I was going to say, on top of it, when you seek them out and you do get sued, on page 35 of their contract in 4-point font, it says, by the way, we're not lawyers, and you need to get a lawyer to deal with the problem, and good luck.
So let me give you the reverse, and then after the break, we're going to do an example. But the reverse is this. We take that fund of money, you hold on to it, and we settle the debts as they come aggressively, seeking settlements in the range of 20 to 40%. If you happen to get sued, we defend the lawsuit as part of the process, and in the lawsuit, we do discovery and procedures to hassle them in order to get them to bring their settlement down to a plausible level. The goal is we need to make sure we get the cases settled within that 24-month. So once the 24 months is up, then that monthly payment you've been making starts going in the bank and saving, so you're no longer paying the juice.
And Ken, when you say that we defend it and we hassle them, we hassle them with
legally, right?
Meaning, half the time you can't get any information as to when they posted the payments, how they posted the payments, where they came up with these balances, what these charges are. And we set up depositions of high-ranking officials and bring people to the plate.
So we give them an aggressive way in order to, we hassle them till they say, okay, we'll settle.
Tax problems are major problems. Don't let the IRS levy your wages and seize your assets. There is a solution.
Worth Ave Gross, our firm will solve your problem.
If you're behind on your taxes and owe money to the IRS, call Fav Gross.
We've been solving tax problems for 32 years. We stop wage levies, resolve unfiled returns, and obtain the best possible settlements.
Call Fav Gross today, 888-235-HELP.
A lifetime of hard work. If you're approaching retirement and don't have the right plan in place, you can lose your home, your investments, and your savings. And you didn't come this far to lose everything. Putting a solid strategy in place with Samasco Law legally protects your assets as well as your wishes. Since a will doesn't cover you medically or financially, Samasco Law goes beyond ordinary asset management protection to safeguard everything you have.
How much can you afford to lose? Call Samasco Law today.
It's devastating, the effects of debt and foreclosure on you and your family. There is a solution.
Worth Ave Gross, our firm will solve your problem. Some fear the word bankruptcy, but in reality, it's a strategy to save your home and to eliminate debt. If you're in financial trouble, timing is critical. You need to take action now. We've been saving homes and eliminating debt for over 33 years.
Call Fav Gross, 888-235-HELP. If you're retired and in a financial crisis, there is a way out.
It pains me when I see a retired couple exhaust their savings by paying credit card bills and for a home hopelessly underwater.
Fav Gross specializes in helping retired people in financial crisis.
You just can't keep paying until you're broke. You need to address the problem now.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
Worth Ave Gross, our firm will solve your problem.
A lifetime of hard work. If you don't have the right plan in place, you can lose your home, your savings, and more. And you didn't come this far to lose everything. Samasco Law wants you to know that laws are changing. Today, the average cost of nursing home care is $85,000 a year. With proper planning, we can help protect your life savings and get you the Medicaid and nursing home benefits you deserve.
How much can you afford to lose? Call Samasco Law today.
Is the debt piling up? Struggling to get by?
It's all about preserving future income. Bankruptcy is one option. When it's right, It's the least costly, most effective way to save your home, eliminate a second mortgage, and wipe out credit card debt. But you need to address the problem now.
We help people with bankruptcy. Call the experts.
We're Thav Gross. Our firm will solve your problem.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
David, it is time for announcements.
Excellent.
Want to remind people to listen to us on Tuesdays, noon to 1, 6 to 7 p.m. on Law and Reality Live on WCHB 1200 AM 99.9 FM. Thursdays, 3 to 4, Law and Reality Now with Cliff Russell on 9:10 a.m. We've got seminars coming up. On Wednesday, June 1st, Time to Say Goodbye to My Debt, from 6:30 to 8 o'clock p.m. We're going to talk about all the ways that we approach resolving debt so that you start preserving future income. Chapter 7, Chapter 13, debt resolution, how to stop foreclosure, how to deal with a tax problem. All that stuff is in the material. We do Q&A at the end of the seminar. They're very well attended. It's filling up fast. If you want to register, thavgross.com, lawandreality.com, or Brian's favorite method, you can call 888-235-HELP.
What's the title?
Time to Say Goodbye to My Debt.
Excellent. What's
Attendees also get a free copy of my book, Dump Your Debt. Next seminar is on Wednesday, June 22nd, 6 to 7:30 p.m. Pat Simasco, our elder law expert, is going to lead us through saving your assets from the nursing home. Brian's going to talk about debt issues for elderly people. I'm going to cover the estate planning components for people in the age range between 40 and 60 years old. That's 6:30 to 8 o'clock. I'm sorry, that's 6 to 7:30 p.m. on Wednesday, June 22nd. Sign up again, same way, thavgross.com, lawandreality.com, or call 888-235-HELP. Go to our websites also for free reports. Retiree's Guide to Social Security by Pat Simasco, How to Save Your Home with Reg X from Foreclosure by myself, and also Business Formations, 14 Ways to Borrow Money and Fund a New Startup Business in Detroit other than going to a conventional bank. Now let's go back to debt resolution. If you're hearing a little bit of rattling in the background, we have a constant renovation going on at Thav Gross, and they're improving our building day to day, so I apologize for the background music. Example, case study. You got $50,000 of credit card debt. Your minimum monthly payments, your MMP, is 2.5% of the $50,000 of debt.
Did you invent that little acronym?
I did.
I
yes.
like it.
$1,250 per month. $1,250 per month times 24 months. That's the outside parameter that I want to get the debt settled in. That's $30,000 of available cash using your minimum monthly payments. Let's assume our average settlement is 37.5%. 50,000 times 37.5% is $18,750. That's what the settlement should cost. We charge 8.5% of the debt. On $50,000 of debt at 8.5%, that would be a legal cost of $4,250. The total cost to settling the debt on our projected formula would be $23,000.
That's less than the $30,000 in 24 months.
So we're within the budget.
So Ken, just for clarification then, this minimum monthly payment, the MMP. Excuse me, during the plan, that's the war chest that you're going to use the money that you were giving them, just the juice in essence. You put that away, you put that aside, and that's what you're going to use to get out of this problem.
Absolutely. You're using, and when a client comes into Brian and I and we look at this, if the client can't afford to make the minimum monthly payments, debt resolution probably isn't the right solution. Because if you can't afford to pay it, you then are probably better into a bankruptcy.
But if they can, here's the really neat thing. So the logic of this is you're going to pay your minimum monthly payments on your credit cards. And if you look at your statements, it's somewhere between 24 and 37 years.
Forever.
Okay? Forgetting the credit card trap, which really does make it forever. Just paying the minimum monthly payment according to the statements, 24 to 37 years. Now, you take the same amount of money, and in 24 months or less, you're out of debt.
Okay.
All the difference in the world.
Stay here. Stay here.
Stay here.
No, big.
Big.
Jenny, what movie is that from?
I have no idea.
You know what movie.
I don't.
Yes, you do. It's one of your favorite movies.
What's it from?
Dave. when he had
He's doing the budget?
No, when he had the thing, the robot or something.
We'll have to put a little film up with Dave on the thing. Oh, with the robot. Oh, yeah, I love it. You're right. Okay, that is a great thing.
Remember?
I love Dave. It's a great movie. But Brian, your point is well made. The whole beauty of debt resolution is people who would be making those payments forever get out of debt within 24 months. Now, remember, there's also a possible tax consequence when you have debt resolution. If you don't meet the insolvency test, you're going to be taxed on the canceled debt. Now, let's assume in this case, because we always analyze tax consequences
and people
also.
think it's the $50,000. It's just the amount that's forgiven.
Which would be $20,000 in this case, times 15%. Figure that's the marginal additional tax cost of $3,000. So if you add the possible tax consequences to the whole thing, it comes to $30,250, which is right in line with the $30,000 budget. So even if you have tax consequences, you'll get by within 24 months.
And one of the things that we try to do sometimes, if we know there's going to be tax consequences after we've analyzed it, is sometimes we try to spread out when we settle different credit cards so that you don't get hit all in one tax year with the tax
spread it over a 2-year period, and also even if we have a tax issue, we can spread that tax liability
Jenny,
out.
what if there's a $10,000 or a $5,000 tax issue? How difficult would that be for you to deal with?
Pretty simple. We can do a 72-month payment plan. The IRS will agree not to file a federal tax lien, and you can resolve that. With the state of Michigan, the liability would be less. You can do a 24-month plan pretty quickly as well.
Yeah, so I'm really glad that you asked that question, because here's what people need to think about. If you're watching, you're saying, oh, but then I've got tax problems? No, it's a manageable problem. The goal here is to get you out of debt so that you stop paying that $1,250 a month for the rest of your life and you start saving that money.
You don't have a tax problem because when you pay off all the credit cards, you got $1,250 a month. So you
extra cash.
Of extra cash. And if you've got a $3,000 tax liability, in 2.5 months it's gone.
Yeah, on a scale of 1 to 10, the debt problem with the credit cards would be an 8 or 9 or up there. The tax ramifications at the end of the day would be maybe a 1.
But I think that's why you need to go to a law firm that can analyze the situation, because sometimes if you go to a debt resolution, they're just going to say debt resolution. You may end up with a huge tax consequence where you may come here and Brian may say, you know what, you're better off just doing a Chapter 7 if you qualify. You're never going to get that advice.
Even worse than that, because if you go to a debt settlement company, their program is flawed from the very beginning. There's nothing good that I can tell you about debt settlement. I'm just being straight out for you. If we can't do it in 24 months, we don't think that it's the right solution, because we're here to solve a problem. We're not here to just grab the money and feed the advertising campaign that's going on. You need to be realistic about your options, and you need to have a thorough investigation. Next week, we're going to have Pat Simasko back, and we're going to talk about from the hospital to rehab to the nursing home with Medicaid planning. Have a great week. Thanks for watching. We'll be back next week with Law and Reality.